Are you serious? Are you serious? Good morning, everyone. I'm a little under the weather, as you probably know, and we're trying our best to get well. Uh, but I'm sorry that I did not get up at 5:30 in the morning and cover this earthquake in Alaska. I was alerted to it, but when I saw that it was not going to be a major tsunami, there was a tsunami though. I decided just to continue to rest. Anyway, I want to welcome all of you here. This has been a big deal. About a week ago, I covered the the fact that San Francisco was in the high risk zone if there was ever another earthquake in Alaska of 9.2. So, and that was just a week ago. You can go back in my videos and find that. So, for there to be a 8.2, the fifth largest earthquake up there. This was huge, guys. 8.2, and it was about 29 kilometers deep. Let me put a shout out. We got some good news. We're going to get a full update on this, how serious this is, because uh, tonight we're having a double header with Mike from around the world. Our guest is going to be Steve Quayle. Steve Quayle is going to be our guest at about 9 p.m. Eastern. And then Mike from around the world will come on following Steve Quayle. So you don't want to miss tonight's doubleheader. Steve Quayle and Mike from around the world. And you couldn't get really two better guys to discuss what happened with this 8.2 earthquake. And is it about, and from what I understand, Dutch Sense is saying, look out, there's more on the way. This thing is starting to go. It's not over. Also, we know that there's been Wages World said we got hit with some serious CMEs, which may have been what sparked this earthquake. And then we know there's the gamma ray burst that's coming that I shared with you guys a couple days ago. I want to get all that information tonight from Steve Quayle and Mike from around the world, plus a whole lot more. But let me put a shout out right now, if I could, for www.agewithpaul.com. That's www.agewithpaul.com. Guys, they've sold 1.5 million bottles of this ageless product. Turmeric is in it. BioTrust made it. It's really good. It really is. Research shows that ancient civilizations knew about the anti-aging benefits of turmeric long before we did. And somehow that information kind of got lost in translation or along the way. But now over 2,000 peer-reviewed studies have since provided evidence behind the many benefits of turmeric. So I've noticed smoother, tighter looking skin and much more energy since finding out about turmeric, what it can do for me and for you. It's good for your hair, for your nails, for your joints, for your skin. Guys, seriously, www.agewithpaul.com. That's www.agewithpaul.com. We've got a lot to talk to Steve Quayle and Mike from around the world about tonight, so this will be a great doubleheader. As there's things going on in the geopolitical world too. And so we'll tell you more about that. Let me share with you what we found out about this earthquake that hit Alaska. It was an 8.2 megaquake. It hit Alaska, triggering a small tsunami wave. It could have been a disaster, guys. Parts of Alaska are under tsunami advisories continuing as aftershocks continue to hit after this mega 8.2 earthquake struck off the coast along the Aleutian Trench south of the Alaskan Peninsula. The very strong and shallow quake, which was 29 miles deep, was located about 56 miles southeast of Perryville, Alaska, and occurred around 10:15 p.m. local time there last night. Of course, that's a lot different time zone. This event was felt throughout the Alaskan Peninsula, and according to the Alaska Earthquake Center, although far away from the inhabited areas, thank God for that. More than 250 people did report it, even though they lived a long ways away from it. Only a small tsunami was confirmed, which was a miracle, really. It could have created a massive tsunami situation, and especially if the scientists have already studied this, and we shared this with you last week. What's the odds of me doing a video on a potential 9.3 earthquake in Alaska, that what it could do is, it had been 12 years since California had done an analysis of what would happen if a 9.2 earthquake hit Alaska like it did in 1964, and what would be the result of it as far as a tsunami. And what they found out was that the San Francisco Bay Area has now become a very high-risk zone, and that it could just literally wipe out Oakland and San Francisco. Now, I shared that video about a week ago, and then all of a sudden, here comes this 8.2 a week later. Wow. It just shows you that prophetically, we're getting more and more insight being downloaded upon us as the prophetic voices around the world. I was talking to Jim Baker about this. He said the reason that the Lord told him when he reopened his network called the PTL network, the Voice of the Prophets, the reason was because he said that God showed him that it was now the era of the prophetic voice, the time for prophecy, and to help show people the soon coming of Jesus Christ. And that what we're understanding is God is going to keep downloading and revealing to us information about the soon coming of Jesus. And I know this, how this, sometimes you get visions and dreams that are very prophetic, and but there are not many of those, but you do get some sometimes. Okay. But also I found in my own life that I can be just writing, like when I wrote the book Mark of the Beast, RFID, and I'm writing a novel that I wrote things in the book that came to pass, like the Pope would resign, like the Mark virus would be released on the earth, a virus. There'd be all kinds of different things that would happen. Russia and Crimea. I wrote all kinds of stuff in there. I mean, it ended up being about 19 things have come to pass in those 10 years. And so we're watching the prophetic voices, the RFID technology advancement. All of this is happening. So what's happening is God is revealing. The Bible says in Amos chapter 3, verse 7, for the Lord can do nothing except he reveal it to his servants, the prophets. And that's in Amos 3:7. So God is going to, it's either Amos 3:7 or Amos 4:7. I can't remember. But God is revealing, whether we know it or not, we're speaking out prophetically in these last days. Okay. So once again, now we know that there is a gamma ray burst coming. I shared that with you guys just a few days ago. And we're going to talk to Mike from around the world about that tonight. What does that mean? What is that going to do to the earth? I talked to Mr. MBB333 about it. And he was going to go, he didn't even know it had happened because it just had happened a few hours before I interviewed him for the webinar. And he was going to go research it to find out what, because it's a direct hit. It's coming. It's the biggest gamma ray burst ever. And did that cause this earthquake? Or is that the CMEs that's been coming off the sun? Because the wind was blowing 537 kilometers per second yesterday, which could have really set off this earthquake in Alaska. Now, if you want to know, there's been 102 earthquakes in the last 24 hours Most of it is in Alaska, but there was one in Kansas. 3.2 in Kansas. California, of course, had a couple, but it's all about Alaska, guys. And then there was a 5.5 earthquake has hit in Myanmar, okay, this morning. 5.5 in Myanmar, but that 8.2 in Perryville, Alaska, that has rocked the world. And of course, the whole earth is shaking and quaking, and the Isaiah's apocalypse is upon us. We are watching the earth reel and rock like a drunken man. And the poles are shifting and the events are happening. The birthing pains are upon us. And I don't think people are ready. I know people aren't ready. Okay. So give your life to Jesus Christ. He's coming soon. And I'll be back with more information for you a little bit later this afternoon, or maybe soon, whenever things happen here. But don't forget tonight. Don't forget tonight. Steve Quayle. We're gonna be starting early tonight. So Steve Quayle will be my guest at 9 p.m. Eastern. That's 9 p.m. Eastern with Steve Quayle and then Mike from around the world. You don't want to miss tonight's broadcast. There's so much happening right now on a global scale. That is Jesus about to appear? Or is the strong delusion? Is the strong delusion about to happen? And what about the earthquakes and the wildfires and the floods and the plagues and the wars and the rumors of wars? Give your life to Jesus Christ. It's almost over. It really is.